Breaking news, US and Philippine navies have launched joint patrols in the South China Sea, marking a significant escalation in regional security efforts. At the same time, Chinese warships are gathering near a vital energy field, their presence a clear signal of Beijing's determination to assert its claims. The South China Sea is more than just a tropical paradise, it's a global trade artery, a lifeline for the world economy, with trillions of dollars in goods passing through these waters every year. From electronics to oil, nearly a third of all global maritime trade flows through this region. Any disruption here could cripple supply chains worldwide, causing shortages, price spikes, and economic turmoil that would ripple across continents. Tensions have simmered for years, but now, the risk of conflict is dangerously high. The world is watching as military buildups and diplomatic warnings intensify. Warships from multiple nations now patrol these contested waters, often within sight, and sometimes within shouting distance, of each other. A single miscalculation, a misunderstood maneuver, could spark a disaster with global consequences. At the center of this standoff is a new US-Philippine energy pact, a bold agreement to develop natural gas fields within the Philippines' exclusive economic zone, resources that could transform the nation's energy future. For Manila, it's a shot at energy independence, a chance to reduce reliance on foreign fuel and secure its own economic destiny. For Beijing, however, it's a direct challenge to its sweeping claims over these waters and a threat to its regional ambitions. China's response has been swift and angry, escalating the standoff with increased patrols, diplomatic protests, and warnings broadcast across state media. The South China Sea is rich in fish, oil, and gas, resources that not only fuel economies but also stir national pride and historic grievances. Decades of unresolved disputes have now collided with the growing rivalry between the US and China, turning these waters into a stage for great power competition. Every move is scrutinized, every statement analyzed, as the world's media and governments watch this maritime chessboard, searching for signs of escalation or compromise. The stakes are enormous. Peace, prosperity, and the very rules that govern the world's oceans hang in the balance. The question remains, will this sea become a flashpoint for war, or a test of diplomacy and restraint for the nations involved? As dawn breaks over a tense harbor, the world is holding its breath, waiting to see what happens next in the South China Sea. China's 9-line claims nearly 90% of the South China Sea, citing centuries-old maps and history. Beijing sees these waters as its own, vital to its security and future. To cement its claims, China has built artificial islands, transforming reefs into military outposts with runways, radars, and missile batteries. Chinese Coast Guard ships now aggressively patrol, often harassing fishermen and energy vessels from Vietnam, the Philippines, and others. These gray zone tactics assert control without open conflict, squeezing out rival claimants. Vietnam, Malaysia, Brunei, and the Philippines all have overlapping claims, and growing alarm at China's expansion. For them, this isn't just geopolitics, it's about sovereignty and survival. China's actions have fundamentally changed the region's balance of power. The result, a tense standoff, with smaller nations caught between defending their rights and facing a regional giant. The South China Sea has become a crucible of power, pride, and peril. The US-Philippine alliance, forged in the aftermath of World War II, has stood the test of time, evolving through decades of geopolitical shifts. Today, this alliance is more vital than ever, as both nations face new challenges in a rapidly changing world. The 1951 Mutual Defense Treaty binds them to defend each other, an enduring pact, now newly energized by China's growing assertiveness in the region. Their new energy deal in the Reed Bank sends a clear message to the world. The US stands firmly with Manila in defending its maritime rights and sovereignty. It's not just about gas or resources, it's about deterring aggression, upholding international law, and ensuring stability in the region. The US is significantly boosting Philippine defenses with advanced patrol vessels, state-of-the-art surveillance aircraft, and comprehensive joint military drills. These exercises are crucial for building real-world readiness, ensuring both militaries can respond swiftly and effectively together in any crisis. The ultimate goal is to make any aggressive move by China too costly to consider, thereby maintaining peace. This isn't about starting a war, it's about preventing one through strength and unity. By showing unity and strength, Washington and Manila aim to keep the peace and protect a free, open Indo-Pacific region. The alliance stands as a bulwark against coercion, a clear signal that international rules and norms still matter. The stakes are high, the future of regional order and stability hangs in the balance. Southeast Asia is watching and reacting. Vietnam, wary of China, is modernizing its military and aligning with the US on maritime security. Malaysia and Brunei, once cautious, are now more vocal as Chinese ships encroach on their energy fields. Indonesia, not a Spratly claimant, faces its own clashes with China near the Natuna Islands and has ramped up patrols. China prefers to deal with each neighbor separately, using economic leverage to keep ASEAN divided. The result is a fractured regional response, with no united front against Beijing's ambitions. Each nation walks a tightrope, defending sovereignty without risking vital trade with China. The South China Sea crisis is reshaping alliances and strategies across the region. In 2013, the Philippines made a bold move, taking China to international court over the South China Sea. This was a historic step, as few dared to challenge a major power through legal means on such a contentious issue. After years of hearings and deliberations, the tribunal at The Hague delivered its verdict in 2016. The ruling was clear. China's claims of historic rights had no legal foundation under international law, and its artificial islands could not be used to claim vast maritime zones. For the Philippines, and for advocates of international law everywhere, the verdict was a landmark victory. It affirmed the power of legal principles over might, and gave hope to smaller nations facing similar disputes. However, China rejected the ruling outright, dismissing it as waste paper. Instead of backing down, Beijing intensified its activities in the disputed waters, building more infrastructure and increasing its naval presence. By ignoring the decision, Beijing not only defied the court, but also challenged the very foundation of the global maritime order, raising questions about the effectiveness of international law. Now, smaller nations across Southeast Asia and beyond are left to wonder, if the law can be ignored by the powerful, what protection remains for the less powerful? The sense of uncertainty has only grown. Despite China's defiance, the ruling remains a legal and moral anchor for the Philippines and other countries. It continues to inspire protests, diplomatic efforts, and calls for respect of international norms, even as China presses on. Today, the struggle is as much about upholding the rule of law as it is about territory or resources. The outcome will shape how future disputes are handled worldwide. The world is watching closely, waiting to see if international norms and agreements will truly hold, or if power will once again override principle. The South China Sea has become a test case for the future of global order, where the stakes are not just regional but global, affecting peace, trade, and the rule of law for generations to come. The South China Sea crisis has gone global. The UK, France, and other powers send warships to assert freedom of navigation, signaling support for international rules. Japan and Australia deepen security ties with Southeast Asia, providing ships, technology, and joint exercises. Security pacts like AUKUS and the Quad are forming a counterweight to China's influence. The pandemic exposed the risks of relying on a single country for critical goods. Now, friendshoring is reshaping global supply chains. The world is dividing into blocks, US and allies on one side, China and its partners on the other. If conflict erupts here, global trade could collapse, energy prices soar, and the risk of escalation, even nuclear, would be real. The stakes are nothing less than global stability and prosperity. That's why every move in these waters is watched with anxiety. The South China Sea is now a front line in a new era of great power competition. The future of the South China Sea and global peace hangs in the balance. Military strength and alliances deter aggression, but only diplomacy can deliver lasting peace. A binding code of conduct is urgently needed to prevent miscalculation and manage disputes. Joint development of resources could turn conflict zones into areas of cooperation. International mediation and creative compromise are essential. The choice is stark: confrontation and chaos, or dialogue and shared prosperity. The decisions made now will shape the region and the world for decades. The world is watching. Will these waters become a battleground or a model for peace?